Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all know what it is, Mr.com in the building, DOAGH. Now, this week, man, since it's WrestleMania on Sunday, I figured I'd take a look at some of my favorite WWF, WWE games. And I figured I thought of what could be a top of my favorite WWF, WWE game, No Mercy. Now, before I get into talking about it, you know this is a diary review, so you know I got some history for you. So go ahead, sit back, buckle in, and listen. Now, the engine that No Mercy is based off of is created by Aki. Now, they're pretty much known for creating what could be the most definitive wrestling engine in the history of video games. Now, the first game in the series that Aki created was called Virtual Pro Wrestling. You may know that game more as WCW versus the World on PlayStation. Now, there were two other Virtual Pro Wrestling games on the 64, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 and 2 respectively. And the first Virtual Pro Wrestling represented WCW NWO World Tour on the 64. You know what I'm saying? And then they came out with, after that, they came out next year with Revenge, which was just an upgraded version of that with just more stuff in it. Now, after that, EA got the license to WCW and made Mayhem and Backstage and so, oh my God, those games were horrible. Probably, in comparison, as bad to wrestling games, I'd probably go as far to say they're just as bad as In Your House. Now, continuing, is that Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 is represented by the WWF game, WWF WrestleMania 2000, and its sweet sequel is what we're taking a look at, No Mercy. Now, the only differences between when WWF used the Virtual Pro Wrestling engine and when WCW used it is that the WCW wrestlers were featured in both the Japanese and the English version, and the WWF wrestlers were not. But I'm going to tell you this. Before we get into it, if you want to see what Aki wants, where one day want to take this, please go play Def Jam Vendetta. I don't care how you do it or where you do it, just do it. Now, real quickly, before we get started, I want to shout out my Auntie Pam and my cousin Ashford and Robert, the three of y'all. I love y'all so much, because they let me borrow their 64 and a copy of No Mercy, even though I didn't need the 64. I found out. Now, I will say this. I wish I had my copy of No Mercy, and I hope it's where it's supposed to be, because if it ain't, it's going to be some issues. Just because you want to know that, because I know you're probably listening. Let's get started. Now, you got a whole bunch of ways you can enjoy the game, and I'm just going to go through them with you. Let's get started. Exhibition. Now, exhibition can be contested in a single, tag, triple threat, handicap, or cage match. Now, if you have a player who has a championship, it can be contested in the majority of modes in this game, except for, I know off the top of my head, survival mode. Royal Rumble. Now, the Royal Rumble is that you can randomly select. You can select the order of the Royal Rumble or even do it in the team battle format. Now, I will say this. You only can have 4 people in the ring at a Royal Rumble on 64 games because that was the limit of what this stuff could do at this time. It slows down a little bit, but not to the point of unplayability. And it's light years better than that Dreamcast and arcade game that came out a couple years ago, a long time ago. You'll want to avoid that game like the plague. Pay-per-view. Now, pay-per-view mode, you can just create a pay-per-view, put together matches, and then and usually you can control what the CPU does, and then the game will rate you on how good your pay-per-view was. King of the Ring. Now, the King of the Ring can be contested in a couple ways: a single, tag, cage match, a ladder in a single, or a ladder in tag match. Now, for all my cats who new to wrestling or ain't been around, who knows what King of the Ring is or what it represents, just put it this way. You can equate what the King of the Ring was back in the day to what the Money in the Bank ladder match is now. Guest referee. Now, the guest referee, single, triple threat, and handicap. Player 1 is always the referee, and 2 and 3 are always the wrestlers. Ladder match. Ladder match and Iron Man matches can be contested in single, tag match, triple threat, and handicap matches. You know, and in Iron Man match, which is what kind of weird, is that you can make a 5-minute Iron Man match. Why would you want to do that? I do not know. Now, championship mode, is this game's story mode. Now, I will say this. All these belts are around except for the hardcore and the light heavyweight championship, and the European belt is now the U.S. title on SmackDown. Now, I'll get into that and survival all in the same sentence. Now, this is probably where you're going to end up trying to unlock all the characters ultimately. Now, in championship mode, the only characters you can unlock are Ken Shamrock. The only character you can unlock in championship mode in some way is Ken Shamrock. And the only character you can unlock in survival mode is Linda McMahon. And I'll get into the other character in a second. And the rest of the characters that I won't cover in the shop as we're going to get into it are Andre the Giant, and Vince McMahon. All the other characters, I either got them unlocked or they represented somehow. I already talked about them. Now, let's just get into SmackDown Mall. Now, ultimately, when you get down to it, this is what No Mercy is known for. Why people still use No Mercy to use a Creator Wrestler Federation and all that stuff. And shout to all those people who keep No Mercy alive with your Creative Wrestler Federation and all that. I appreciate it, and I watch a lot of them. So, man, just get on YouTube, get on Google, and try to find it. Now, Superstar options is like this. You can edit any superstar on the roster, change their clothes, make them look however you want. You can create your own superstar. This is why I wish I had my No Mercy card, because my dude was a beast. It took me a month to get his moves how I wanted it, man, and he was a monster, believe me. If I ever get my stuff back, Battle Chronicles video, guaranteed. You can clone any superstar on the roster, so it's like if you want to make a copy of yourself and just tweak them a little bit more and make them different, you can do that. You can clone any character on the roster. You can't clone one superstar on top of another because it'll only change their look and not their wrestling moves. And you can change things with namespace. Now, the shop mode is pretty cut and dry. You just buy stuff. As far as moves go, if a character you know has a move that you have to buy, but it's in their move list, just clone that wrestler, free move. And the characters that I want to talk about that you can't unlock any other way other than the shop is the hoe. I'm going to let y'all know something. Here's a life lesson. Pimping ain't easy, alright? Pimping ain't easy. And you can tell Triple the one that told you that. And something about Earl Hebner that you might want to know, his second and fourth costumes are Michael Cole. And that's it for that. So we're just going to quickly just, get into the roster real quick before I give it a story and we get out of here. Let's see who we got. The People's Champ, The Rock, The Game, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mankind, Kane, American Badass Undertaker. And you get that's probably as close to this old school as you're going to get. You can buy some stuff and create some stuff to make it look like old school Undertaker or hack the game if you need to. Chris Jericho, Kirk Angel, shout out to SRK Wrestling, we the best. Man, Chris Benoit, rest in peace. Hey, how you did it, man. You still one of my favorites. Devon Dudley, Matt Hardy, Christian, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Bubba Ray, Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Grandmaster Sex Sam. Y'all know what that is. They made up Too Cool, man. They were some of my favorite tag team wrestlers back in the day. China, R.I.P. all day, Eddie Guerrero, Taz, Farouk, Bradshaw when he was a boss, clotheslining and whooping ass and drinking beers and not about money. Dean Malenko, Mr. Ash, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Jesse James, and X-Pac! The Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman, Al Snow, Taka Michinoku, Albert Test, Val Venus, Stephen Richards, Buell Buchanan, The Godfather, The Blue Train, Hardcore Crash Holly, Perry Saturn, Mark Henry, D-Lo, S.A. Rio, Big Boss Man, British Bulldog, Big Vic, Irene Jacqueline, The Cat, Terry and Deborah, Lita, Trish Stratus, Tori and Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. Oh my God. Stephanie, if you listening, I don't care Triple H, man. I just want to let the whole world know. You so fine. Shane O'Mac. Shout out to Shane O'Mac, man. Hey, we understand you had to do what you had to do, man, but you need to come back and come dive off something, man. We missed the Shane O'Shuffle. Real talk. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, Mae Young, and the Fabulous Moolah. All the other characters I went over, all those other characters can either, like I said, be unlocked in Survival or in Championship mode, except the ones I already talked about. So let's go ahead and get into it. At the end of the day, it's real simple. I played No Mercy last night, and it felt like I was playing it back 2000, 2001. Ain't lost the beat, I ain't lost the step, and the game hasn't either. If I'm going to get a game to score, it's a 9 out of 10. You want to know why? The game is still good. It's like, even for a 10-year-old game, it blows like a lot of the SmackDown versus Raw games off the water. And definitely that TNA game they came out with. But you know what it is, I'm like, if you've never played No Mercy, you should either play No Mercy and play Def Jam so you can appreciate them both equally. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that. So I think that's about it for me, you know. Again, I want to shout out my Auntie Pam, my cousin Ashford, and my cousin Robert. Thank you so much for letting me use y'all No Mercy. I do appreciate it. Love y'all so much. So other than that, man, y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy Triple DOAGH, and I am the king of YouTube. If you ain't heard already, holla back.